Thank you. And to the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, we're really happy to join you today virtually, and everybody who watches this either right now or later. Before I begin, I'd also like to acknowledge Jordan Feiner, Governor Hochul's Manhattan Regional Representative, who's with us today. He will be helping me answer some questions later, I think. So let's hop in. From the corner stores on blocks throughout the city to global headquarters that adorn our skyline, businesses of all sizes are what keeps New York's economy on the move. Your members are a big driver of our economy and employ thousands of New Yorkers. Governor Hochul recognizes that and fully understands that your partnership is vital to her vision of an affordable future for New York State. I am so grateful that the Chamber continues to be an invaluable resource for our diverse and robust business community. Which brings us to why I'm here today. As partners and in the spirit of transparency, it is my pleasure to join you virtually to bring you some of the highlights of Governor Kathy Hochul's latest proposed budget. It's a bold agenda featuring solutions to tackle some of the biggest issues that New York families face today and tomorrow. Since being elected to office, Governor Hochul has delivered real progress in making New York a safer, more affordable place to live, work, and raise a family, all without raising taxes. Whether it's keeping New Yorkers safe by strengthening gun laws, investing billions into childcare, putting more money into the pockets of New Yorkers, and much more, Governor Hochul continues to deliver real solutions for everyone in New York State. And her latest proposed budget keeps that positive momentum going. To quote Governor Hochul, "Our future depends on the ability of every family to avoid the essentials of life and our ability to protect the safety and security of our residents." Since day one, Governor Hochul's commitment has been simple. Your family and your future are her fight. As your labor commissioner, I am proud to be part of an administration that will never stop fighting for and supporting the people and businesses of New York State. In her latest proposed spending plan, the governor wants to maintain the state's economic momentum and invest in what families statewide need to enhance their lives. The $260 billion budget is up slightly from last year due to needing to offset federal cuts, especially to healthcare. Her plan takes into account an expected $17 billion growth in revenue over the next 2 years, thanks to our strong economy driven in part by business leaders here with us today. When our economy is strong, the state has more revenue to fund programs designed to uplift families statewide, because we know that a rising tide floats all boats. I always say that there are 3 barriers that keep people from fully joining the workforce: childcare, transportation, and housing. Governor Hochul's budget proposal tackles all 3 of these issues. One of those initiatives takes on an issue very near and dear to my heart. I'm talking about Governor Hochul's game-changing push to implement universal child care and pre-K for every single family across New York State, regardless of income. As the co-chair of the New York State Child Care Availability Task Force, I have closely examined this issue for years. Right now, nearly a third of women in New York City leave the workforce due to a lack of affordable childcare options. We lose so many skilled New Yorkers from our workforce as a result. In fact, it happened to the governor herself. I have been waving flags about this for years. Affordable childcare is not just a family issue. It is an economic issue that has serious repercussions on our ability to compete in the global market. Studies have shown that implementing universal affordable childcare in New York could increase labor force participation by as much as 28,000 workers and lead to as much as $1.6 billion in additional wages across the state. The governor's proposed budget allocates $4.5 billion to invest statewide in child care and pre-K, of which $1.7 billion are completely new investments. With the executive budget proposal of over $3 billion in child care vouchers statewide, New York is well on its way to addressing long wait lists for families trying to access child care. But that's not all. We are also excited to help New York City launch the 2Care program, a free childcare program for the city's 2-year-olds by providing $500 million for the first 2 years. And that funding will be focused on high-need areas for the first year. You cannot expand childcare without strengthening the early childhood education workforce. Governor Hochul's plan expands access to funding, credentials, and training pathways. It expands the Master in Education Teacher Incentive Scholarship to increase the number of beneficiaries and make the program work for early childhood educators, and directs SUNY and CUNY to embed the Child Development Associate credential in early childhood programs and develop micro-credentials and more. Over the last 4 years, Governor Hochul invested more than $8.6 billion into childcare. She delivered a nearly 190% increase in the number of New York City children receiving the child care subsidy, and she increased the state funding by nearly 200% for New York City. The governor's fiscal year 2027 budget continues increases in child care subsidies. That includes a $2.4 billion base investment for New York State's Child Care Assistance Program and contributes $475 million for New York City-specific child care subsidies. These investments are so important to working families. With these funding proposals, the governor is working to ensure that no New Yorker is forced to choose between a career they love and caring for their children. Housing continues to grow under the governor's leadership. Our workforce must have access to affordable housing. The state is on pace to reach the goal of creating or preserving 100,000 homes statewide. The proposed executive budget includes an additional $250 million in capital funding to accelerate new construction of affordable housing units across the state. The governor's plan also includes $153 million for the Homeless Housing and Assistance Program. That's $25 million more than the previous year. And for New York City, the budget proposal also includes $9.8 million for the Neighborhood Preservation Program, legislation to overhaul the J51 tax incentive to repair rent-stabilized housing, increase income eligibility limits for rent freeze programs for seniors and people with disabilities, and continued funding to increase the city's housing supply, because it is such a huge issue in the city. New Yorkers also pay some of the highest car insurance rates in the nation, totaling just over $4,000 annual on average. That is nearly $1,500 above the national average. That is why the governor is taking common sense steps to battle fraud, limit damages paid out to bad actors, and ensure that customers and not insurance companies are prioritized by ensuring people committing crimes, driving uninsured, or those found at fault cannot get jackpot payments on top of the standard lost wages and medical care costs, and requiring insurers to notify policyholders about rate changes and to explain why the changes are happening. The governor's executive budget proposal also provides increased transportation funding to enhance New York City's crucial roadways, bridges, and public transportation infrastructure, including $115.4 million in local road and bridge funding through the CHIPS program, $29.4 million through Pave New York, a very important this winter, $19.6 million through our Pave Our Potholes program, $8.6 billion in transit aid for the very important MTA, $179.2 million to support MTA bus operations, and $67.1 million to the Staten Island Ferry. And that's not all. The proposed budget also provides $100 million in new MTA appropriations, including $50 million for Jamaica Station, $25 million for Second Avenue Subway West, and $25 million to support the Subway Co-Response Outreach Teams program. The governor vows to put more money in the pockets of New Yorkers. From lowering energy costs to cracking down on fraud, Governor Hochul is fighting to make New York an affordable state for all. Many New Yorkers may already notice a change from last year. As part of the governor's $4 billion affordability agenda, the first phase of the governor's middle-class tax cut took effect this year. When parents of children under the age of 4 file their taxes, they will receive an enhanced Empire Child tax credit. The governor's current proposed budget seeks to help New Yorkers keep more of their money. It includes enhancements to the Child and Dependent Care Credit to reduce the income tax burden for nearly 90,000 New York City families by an average of $645 per year. And as I mentioned at the beginning, childcare, housing, and transportation are the main barriers for people looking to enter the workforce, and the proposals I just outlined will go a long way towards solving these issues while also helping New Yorkers keep more of their hard-earned money. These developments are in line with other cost-saving measures from this past year that benefit businesses, including paying off the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund debt, which saves businesses around $100 per employee this year and $250 per employee in 2027, and these businesses no longer have to pay the interest assessment surcharge. And I am proud to be part of Governor Hochul's cabinet for the enactment of the first in the nation paid prenatal leave initiative, so that no parent in New York is forced to choose between a checkup and a paycheck. Prenatal leave is a win for both employees and employers. Healthy employees mean higher productivity for businesses. And while there's not a way to calculate the monetary value of paid prenatal leave, this new law provided up to 2.7 million hours of leave to nearly 140,000 workers last year. My department has also been busy spreading the word that New York's minimum wage went up again this year across the state. It's part of Governor Hochul's historic multi-year agreement with the state legislature to index the minimum wage to inflation, and that will begin next year in 2027. Also, tipped workers are a large part of the workforce here in New York City, and the governor wants to ensure that they can make ends meet as well. She is calling to eliminate income tax on tipped wages beginning with tax year 2026. In the first 2 years, it's expected to provide tip-dependent wage earners in the city with an average of $28.6 million in annual tax relief. Education is also a high priority because the governor believes that with the right education and training, New Yorkers have limitless potential to meet the needs of employers like your members. She continues to invest in education because children are the inheritors of our economy, and we need to do what we can now to support their future success. As you can see on this chart, school aid has increased to historic levels since Governor Hochul took office, and in her latest proposed budget, she continues that trend. Her executive budget proposal includes $39.3 billion in total school aid statewide, including $27.1 billion in foundation aid. That is a $1.6 billion increase. It also includes $561 million increase in aid for universal pre-K. The governor also wants to continue providing free universal school meals to students in need. No child should go hungry, and research has shown that hunger has a direct negative impact on learning outcomes for students. For fiscal year 2027, Governor Hochul is calling to allocate $395 million to feed 2.8 million students statewide. The governor also continues to invest in its successful higher education initiatives like SUNY and CUNY Reconnect, which offers free community college to eligible adults pursuing high-demand fields. More than 5,600 New Yorkers have enrolled in the program, saving an average of $2,000 per year. This year, Governor Hochul wants to expand the list of fields to include logistics, air traffic control, and nursing, among others. This move would help fill employment gaps in important occupations and create new career opportunities for New Yorkers. Of course, Governor Hochul also recognizes that each region of New York State has different needs. Though many of her proposals apply across the state, the governor was sure to include local investments for each region, particularly for economic development and healthcare funding. For New York City, the governor's proposed budget includes over $13 million in continued support of Centers for Advanced Technology and $12 million for Centers of Excellence statewide, portions of which apply to New York University's Center for Advanced Technology and Telecommunications and Center for Excellence in Digital Game Development, respectively, and $25 million for the Downstate Semiconductor Design Center. She is also calling to enhance the New York City musical and theatrical production tax credit to maintain support for one of the city's major cultural exports. The entertainment sector is a major attraction to New York City, and she wants to keep those Broadway lights on for many years to come. And for the crucial healthcare sector, the budget allocates $278.8 million in healthcare facility transformation awards for New York City healthcare providers, $2.3 billion in multi-year operating and capital awards under the Safety Net Transformation Program for New York City safety net providers, $5.9 million to increase access to health and wellness services for underserved communities, and continues the 5-year, $25 million investment to modernize and enhance the Veterans Home at St. Albans. I want to remind you that this is just a brief overview of the governor's vision for New York State. I encourage you to read more by visiting ny.gov. Thank you all again for joining me, and I think we have a minute or two for questions if there are any. Anyone have a question?
Hello, Commissioner. I'm Jessica Walker. I'm the president of the chamber. Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you so much for this great overview and the details. A few things. One, first of all, I just want to thank the governor for her leadership on tariffs. That is one of the biggest issues that our members have been talking about this year, and I know the governor has been working hard on that issue.
Yes, I will tell her. I know it has a very negative impact across the state, and of course in New York City, it's felt particularly hard. So thank you. I'll take those words back to her.
The other thing is we care a lot about the money for the Second Avenue subway. I don't know if folks here know our history, but our chamber actually started, one of their key issues was calling for another subway because the Lexington Avenue subway was so busy and so crowded. So that was 1923. We started calling for that. And so
pays off in 100 years.
Exactly. So we were there for the opening of the first phase of the Second Avenue subway, and very excited to see it expanded. So thank you for that.
I think it's great.
Good. So I'm going to actually put one of my board members on the spot. Patrick Hall is a board member and an entrepreneur, and also the co-chair of our Storefront Business Coalition. So I'd love for him to give some thoughts.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, thank you so much for taking time to be with us and share all of that good news. I'll just tell you a little bit about what we're doing with the Storefront Coalition in the Chamber. The Chamber has this neighborhood navigator of actual people that have been going out into the community since COVID, meeting with the local storefronts. And Maggie and the team at the Chamber have put together some great data on storefront vacancy in Manhattan particularly. I don't know if you know the statistics, but it's like 11% vacancy citywide, but in Manhattan, it's the highest at 13%. And I'm in District 1, which is the highest in Manhattan at 22% vacancy in downtown Manhattan.
Wow.
So it's a real problem, but it's just a symptom. We don't really we have a lot of things that we're doing with we're going to be doing a Main Street deal, going out to advocate with getting the different storefronts to sign on to advocate for some specific changes that we're asking for. And Jessica and the team at the Chamber can share all of that information with you, along with the storefront tracker data, which I think will be very helpful. Was there anything in particular, Jessica, that you wanted me to share about?
No, just wanted for them to understand sort of what we're up to. Thank you, Patrick.
That's a really important initiative. You know, our office in New York City is at 199 Church in the NYS building, and there are vacant storefronts around, and it's such a beautiful neighborhood. It's like, why can't people open businesses?
Yeah, I'm in Tribeca, which is a lovely neighborhood, and my wife and I live and run the flower shop here. We own Alon Flowers. It's been downtown since 1983, and we purchased it in 2015, and made the concerted decision to keep our storefront as a storefront and not move it out outside Manhattan, but to actually stay in the neighborhood that built the business.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Patrick, one more thing. Can you talk at all about insurance and how you're dealing with that? And especially since you deliver flowers, is the auto insurance issue a big issue for you?
Funny thing, I just purchased my first van. We had been renting, and it was very expensive to rent vans. So we purchased our first van at the end of the year last year and started this year. Um, when I got my van, I couldn't drive it until I had insurance. And my liability insurance, the only company that they could find to insure my one van, my very first Alon Flowers flower van to deliver locally, was 16,000 a year. I talked to another
Oh
colleague
my
who was out
God.
in Queens, and he said, I have four vans, Patrick, and that's how much I pay a year. So I just got my accountant to recommend another broker that's trying to get me switched over to something less expensive for having one van. And I delivered to Manhattan exclusively. I really wanted an electric van, but I couldn't navigate how to get an electric charger in front of my shop and how much that was going to cost me. So I couldn't estimate the cost of that, but I really wanted an electric van so that I could deliver because I deliver locally.
Yeah.
We deal with all of the, FedEx and all the different trucks coming in, delivering to the neighborhood. But we are a business that actually brings in the flowers. We make them on site. We deliver locally. And I'm in an old mercantile building that was built as a butter and egg dispensary in 1896. So,
Wow.
yeah, as a mixed use commercial building, I really want to keep the neighborhood flavor of local businesses that support the neighborhood. And we don't have a business improvement district in Tribeca, so I'm helping found a merchants association called the Tribeca Alliance.
What street is your shop on?
Worth Street, Worth.
Right. So we're on Church, just 3 blocks up from the Chambers Street subway.
Yeah, so you're very close to
Close.
us. Yeah,
Yes.
you're very close to us. Please come by and
Yeah.
and and take a look. I'll give you a tour.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's really great to have you in the neighborhood, and we're really trying to organize. We're doing monthly merchant mingles, and maybe if you
Nice.
ever want to come by and join one of those, we're getting a lot of help from the New York Law School that is also here
Oh,
in
that's good.
Tribeca.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But I've been a member of the chamber for since I bought my business and on the board for this last year, and really honored to be a part of this storefront coalition because it is a problem citywide, but there's not really many solutions being offered. And if I could just say one thing I think would be the most important is if we could have some kind of analysis that would be like attached to the legislation that is uh, talks about what would be the effects on a small business before it's voted on, and if we could have some kind of seat at the table to have some kind of listening session before legislation, before unintended consequences happen that that have an adverse effect on the Main Street storefronts.
Right.
I know it's different with the whole state, but we have a very particular, you know, situation being in a big city and we're small businesses upside of large multinational corporations.
Well, the upside of this conversation is the governor herself is very, very acutely aware of how vital small businesses are to the economy of the state. Her mother owned a flower shop when the governor was a child, and she's just very, I mean, that's where it's the entrepreneurial spirit of people that really buoys the economy across the state. So the small businesses are really, really important to her. And she does everything she can to make sure that when we're doing legislation, that we're aware of the differences between, a mega store or a department store and somebody who has a specialty shop. So I'm sure that, this will not fall on deaf ears because she's experienced it herself.
Well, if I could just encourage for one thing is some kind of formal small business impact analysis. attached to bills that are creating new mandates, and some kind of structured operator listening sessions before the language is locked in
Right.
would really help.
I have the opportunity. So, we enforce all the labor laws and regulations in the state, and they're constantly changing. And well, first of all, we have compliance programs in the worker protection side. So when new regulations come in, we're available to talk to employers about what does that mean? How do I enforce paid prenatal leave in my shop? How do I, when the laws change, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we have people who will sit down with you and walk you through. And if you have an association, it's even easier. We can send somebody out to sit down and walk you through whatever the new regulations are, because we don't, yes, we can assess fines and penalties, but that's like the last thing we want to do. We want to make sure that the business knows how to comply, so that nobody trips with a new regulation.
Well, that's kind of what we're seeing across Manhattan storefronts, is that we're seeing consistent themes, the need for formal small business impact analysis before the mandates are enacted, some kind of clear implementation guidance from
Mhm.
the agencies, not coming from us going to find this out, but from the agencies coming to us, so that the compliance expectations aren't just ambiguous.
Right.
It's some kind of better coordination between the state and the city enforcement structures, and that structured operator listening before the final legislative language is locked in. They're not deregulatory asks. They're about policy durability.
Mhm.
And it's just this cumulative impact that happens because small businesses, we don't have lawyers on, and we don't have always
We have a big HR
we
department.
don't have an in-house comptroller, accountant,
Yeah.
budget manager. It's like it's all on us. And unlike large businesses that pay less for health insurance, they pay less for having a 401k for their employees. They pay less for the payroll structures because all of the things are built on economy of scale. And I can't even get into certain insurance policies because I don't have enough employees, or enough of my employees that can afford to go on a company sponsored plan or the PEO or whatever. It's a
So
lot of administration burden that we have to navigate every time something
we
changes.
we have, and I know in New York City it's complex, because New York City, unlike any place else in the state, has their own. They have a lot of sort of mirror agencies that the state has too. So New York City has a lot of codes specific to the city. And that can make things complicated. But not only are our worker protection people willing and able to sit down and walk businesses through the regulations, we also have the business services people in our career centers, and they will come out and they'll come to your flower shop and sit down with you and walk you through, complexities. We have, a very robust talent bank if you're looking for new hires, but they can help you understand what are the new tax credits that are
Are
available.
you talking about Workforce One?
No, I'm talking about the New York City. Well, we co-locate with Workforce One, but we're about to open our new downtown Manhattan Career Center in our building here on Monday, actually. And so we have our career center, and we also co-locate with the New York City SBS. So they
So there's no shortage of agencies that are established to help small businesses, but one of the things that I think is different from what the chamber is doing and what I've seen and experienced myself is that all of these agencies are the small business owner going to the agency for help with something that's already been enacted. I
so we
don't see a lot of like, opportunity for our voices to be heard or brought into it. And you've also mentioned the things about the labor. Do you know that the New York State Department of Labor, how many advocates there are for the businesses in the Department of Labor?
I don't have the number in front of me, but we have business services everywhere.
It's a one person in the whole Department of Labor that is an advocate for the businesses.
No, that's
Is
for
it
that's for UI. That's for unemployment insurance. We also have business services people that are separate from unemployment insurance.
It's a separate agency.
No, no, it's a separate function within the DOL.
Commissioner, it's Molly. Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
Hi, Patrick. Hi, Jessica. I'm the chief of staff here at the department. I think what you're talking about is our business ombudsman, who works with the businesses specifically, and that's a one-person shop. But within our workforce development organization, we have business services representatives. So those are specific staff who are designated to go and speak to businesses. So there's an entire staff of those representatives. So in the career center that the commissioner is talking about, we have staff to both serve job seekers and serve businesses. So there is an entire staff that is more than just one person who does those services, and we'd be happy to connect you with those folks to work with you as a business owner, because that's their sole job on working with the government, things that you need to overcome as a business owner.
Yeah, Patrick, I'm happy to have you reach out and I can, connect you with DOL, find out this, and help you get further connected on top of that as well, 100%. You certainly know how to reach me 100%.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to, while we have you here, maybe you could give us your thoughts on sort of where we are in the economy, because we're getting so many mixed signals at the moment. In New York City, for example, we still have the most jobs that we've ever had, but at the same time, the rate of growth has slowed a lot. And Wall Street is doing very well, and at the same time, we're hearing from smaller businesses that they're really struggling. So, what are you seeing? Where are we?
So, the indicators are good. As you said, it's kind of a mixed bag. And I think that the with the kind of confusion around the tariffs is a great example. So there's a general confusion at certain levels of government about what's in and what's out and how we're going to do things, and that has created an uneasiness. But I don't know that that's really reflected in the economy. It's certainly in all our heads, but I don't know that the economy is actually reflecting that. I think that there are volatile parts of the economy. I know everybody's very concerned about the impact of AI on the workforce. I just had a conversation about this the other day, and there's no question that AI has the ability to be disruptive, but we don't see massive disruption now. And one of the things that we always say to people who are looking for career guidance, and to businesses as well, it is absolutely critical that everybody, to the best of their ability, become AI literate, because AI is a tool, and we're going to have to use it. And the more we understand about how to use AI in a safe, productive manner, the better it is for everybody. So I know that this is kind of it feels a little unsteady, and I think that's really more of the noise that's going on out in the world. The numbers don't really reflect that noise yet. Financially, the state is on an even keel. The numbers that we review are good. Unemployment's a little bit higher than we would like, but it's nothing. I mean, it's higher in New York City than it's always higher in New York City than it is anywhere else. But there are positive trends, and the governor has really worked hard to stabilize the economy and bring new technology, new companies into the state. So there are really great opportunities. I say to people who are looking for jobs, come to us. We have all kinds of new tools online, a virtual career center, and the virtual career center can also help employers when you're looking for those valuable trained employees. So there's a lot here. Please connect with us and use the facilities that we have while we sort of pick our way through a little bit of a minefield publicly.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, so the danger is, I think, that we unintentionally designed for the top half of the K-shaped economy, while the bottom half, like small employers, we moderate the wages, absorb the compounding pressures, like rent, insurance, compliance, utilities, payroll, all at once. It's just a cumulative effect that happens, and it kind of trickles down to the small businesses to have to figure it out, go find which agency can help you, understand the difference between SBS, SBDC, SBA.
Oh, the acronyms. Yes, I know. Well, I will say, we are a regulatory agency and a workforce agency, but when it comes to some of the things that you're talking about, Patrick, that I would I would form alliances with my local legislators because, they're the ones who are building the laws. I only impact them once they're passed. I don't really get to impact them before they're passed. So yes, I'm sure you do, but your local legislators are your first line of defense.
We're trying to meet with all of them, but again, it's us going to them.
Yeah, I know.
I will, yeah, no, I will
Maybe,
say
I
too.
know.
So part of it too, Patrick, you sort of alluded to this, but the chamber, we have been very successful since COVID in working our chamber, but the other borough-wide chambers of going out to businesses and doing that outreach. But the part that is magical, though, is that when we do the outreach, one of the places we're referring is to government services.
Yeah.
So there is a partnership there. And so we're excited about what you mentioned opening on Monday. I'm sure that we
come
will.
see it. I went down to see it yesterday. It is just gorgeous. It made me so happy because, I mean, a lot of times government buildings have been around for 30 years. They get kind of drab. This is brand new. It's ground floor. It's welcoming. It says, "Come in, let us help you." And I'm very excited.
Wonderful.
That's this coming Monday. How can we find out about it?
They're cutting a ribbon.
Wonderful.
Be in touch.
Well, congratulations on that, and thank you so much for coming to give us the update of what's going on in Albany. And we hope that you will return soon after the budget, and we can talk about implementation, which
That's
is
what we
always
like
fun.
to do. Yes.
That's it. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you to everybody for joining us.
Thank you, and enjoy the sunshine.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.